Okay. Encapsulation is the process of wrapping up of a data into a single unit. Okay. Encapsulation is a process of wrapping up of a data into a single unit. Into a single unit. Which means that, so generally, say for example, if you want to, like, if you want to refer something, so generally we should know the what is the access modifier associated to that unit. So generally I want to access a class members. I want to know, first of all I want to know what was the access modifier associated with the class. Say for example, it is a private, I can't access. Say for example, it is a protected. It can be only accessible within an inherited class only. Say for example, it is internal, which is only accessible within the namespace. Likewise, we have some conditions, right? Suppose if we want to bind the data into a single unit, then what we have to do, we can give a proper access modifier. Suppose I want to restrict all class members, so in order to like accessing to the other unit, so or in order to restrict to access other units, then definitely I will give a appropriate access modifier. Suppose I want to restrict other to use, then I will give provide. If I want to provide accessibility to all others, then I will provide a public. If we want to, like that, we can make it, means we can wrap our data into a single unit, okay, based upon our base access modifier. Either we can access or either we can restrict the data, okay. That is called encapsulation. Generally, whenever we are using an encapsulation process, we should understand what are all the access modifiers that are available in C#.NET. Okay, so generally, access modifier. What is the use of access modifier? Access modifier or access specifier is used to provide the protection level to the data. Provide the protection level to the data. So what is the protection level means? Maybe I want to restrict from somebody else, or maybe I want to restrict it to other classes, maybe I want to restrict it to other namespaces, like anything, any protection level that we have to apply, so that it provides some sort of security things to the, it provides some sort of security to the class entities. Okay. Our access modifiers are divided into following types. They are public, private, protected, internal, protected internal. Okay, these are all the access modifiers that we have. Public means no restriction, no restriction. We can access from anywhere to anywhere. Okay, everybody can access. Private means it was restricted to inherit as well as users outside of the class. Protected means it can be accessible only with the inherited class. Okay, only within the inherited class. Say for example, I have a class A, class B. If I mark class A as a protected, then if I want to inherit class A to class B, then only class A members will be accessible to class B. Otherwise, you can't access. Okay.
Okay.
Next is internal. These members are accessible within the namespace. See, we have our programs, right? So generally, we marked one namespace. So within that namespace only, we can access only internal members. Otherwise, we can't access. This is our namespace, right? Suppose if I create one more namespace, if I want to access this internal class to other namespace, we can't access because that is an internal. Only restriction is up to particular namespace. Members can be accessible within the namespace, same namespace. Okay. Next is protected internal. This is a combination of both protected and internal. This is a combination of both protected and internal, where we can utilize these members in, you know, within the derived class, and that is also within the same namespace. We can't access this outside of the namespace and outside of a non-inherited member. Okay. So notice, if a class is a public class, it doesn't mean that members of a class are also public. Again, access modifiers also member also depends upon their own declaration. Okay, so for example, if a class is marked as a public, then it doesn't mean that the members of a class are belongs to a public. It always depends on the members declaration. Maybe in public class also sometimes we have a private members. Maybe in public class also sometimes we have, so other members like protected members or protected internal members. Anything we can make it. Okay, so every member access modifier is depends upon their own declaration rather than depending upon the main class access modifier. Okay, one more point is, if we want to provide any access modifier for a class, indicates that it is an by default internal. Similarly, if we want to provide any access modifier for a members of a class, then itself it indicates that it is an by default private access modifier. Okay, you got my point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let us see like how we can work with these things. I would like to add a new class here. Okay. I would like to take a new class, my Encap. Okay. So generally, so value of p is something, value of q is something. I declared pq. I'm trying to access this class here. I'm trying to create an object for this class. Obj equal to new encapsulation. I want to access obj dot p. P is not coming. See, here your class is internal. So if you want to declare any members to this particular member, then by default this is a private itself. Okay. So just we have to declare their own basic declaration. Then only we can access outside of the class. Obj dot p. See now p and q are coming here. I just assign some value obj dot q equal to 20. So just I'm going to access particular method here, get data. Okay, so just I'm using console.readline. I'll set the startup object for this program. So now value of p is 10 and value of q is 20. Okay, so this is nothing but, if you want mark much, this is nothing but our internal class. Okay, so I already told you that my internal class can be accessible anywhere in the namespace, right? I already told you. So just I want to use my internal class here itself. Okay. So or else anywhere we can go with. So what was my class name? My Encap. See, this is my Encap, right? This is my internal class, right? So just I want to go. I want to call this class anywhere in this namespace. So that just I'll choose here itself. My namespace is oops here. Here also my namespace is oops. So it is going to access anywhere. So just I'm going to use obj equal to new obj. So obj dot, we have some method get data. Okay. Just I'm calling this here. So just before going to that, we have to start up this static exe as my startup object. Just I'm going to run this program. See, value of p is 0 and value of q is 0. So likewise, we can access our internal class anywhere in our namespace. Got it?
Okay.
And similar way, say for example, if it is public, you know that public, that we can access anywhere. Suppose if it is a protected, I marked this as a protected. Just I'm trying to execute this program. Element dependency cannot be executed as private, protected, or protected internal. So generally it gives an error that if we declare any element, cannot be explicitly declared as private, protected, or protected internal. You see, class doesn't allow us to give a namespace as a protected because it doesn't allow us to create an object directly. Okay, so generally, if it other than public and other than internal, no member, no access modifier allows us to create an object in our main class. Okay, that's the reason where it won't compiler won't allows us, and it provides an error. Elements defined in namespace cannot be explicitly declared as a private, product, or internal. Say for example, I want to create one more class. So class my encap replica. So like that I'm going to use that. I'm using my encap means nothing but this is nothing but we are trying to inherit my encaps class to this class. Okay, here I would like to provide public void get my method info. Okay, so in order to access this so just I'm trying to create an object for this. If I create an object for this, we can access both members. So obj equal to new next obj dot. See here we are accessing both two methods, get my method info and get data, right? So just
Yeah.
I'm assigning obj dot key equal to 20. Okay, and obj dot get data obj dot get method info. We used our this class here, just you can comment this. So just you are trying to run this. So again this provides an error. Okay, we can't explicitly implement this producted class. Okay, it allows us to provide an error. Okay, what was an alternative mechanism means, if you intended to protected your members, then give like public protected, sorry, protected in means if your intention is to restrict your members, so then you can use protected into pq, like this you can give. So now your members are here. See, if you are trying to access so your base class members, then you can use base dot. First I will make a status object of this enkp. Okay, so now reason okay, here we are trying to access to pass some value. Suppose if I pass here 10 and if I pass something here 23, say for example. Now so all my members are accessible here, right? So generally I'll check why it is not accessible here, but but it should
Okay.
accessible in the base class itself. Means nothing but in the
Okay.
derived class. Okay. So in this way we can make use of our protected itself. See here what was encapsulation is nothing but whatever the namespace that we provided for this entire class, we are wrapping up of data into a single unit. This is nothing but your single unit. Your class is nothing but your single unit, in which depends upon your class declaration only the members will act, right? So maybe if your class is a protected class, then we cannot access that class to outside. Then we can go with an other alternative approaches. Likewise, we can make it to like we can wrap our data into a single unit and we can make use of it. Okay, nothing but this indicates that your whole unit is declared and derived with the help of this access modifier. Okay, this is about
Okay.
encapsulation. Next, we'll go with inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but a process of acquiring a parent class, features to child class. So nothing but we want to derive something. If a parent class has some derived implementations, that we are going to carry the same derived implementation to the child class. So unnecessarily we should avoid duplicating of same implementation, and it improves the reusability features with the help of our inheritance concept. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So this we have different types of inheritances. So just first is a single inheritance. Second is multi-level inheritance. Third is multiple inheritance. Hybrid inheritance. Hierarchical hierarchical inheritance. Single inheritance means acquiring acquiring the properties or implementation from a single parent class to a child class. This is your parent class, consider, and this is nothing but your child class. Okay, suppose here we have a single parent and as well as a single child. So this is nothing but single inheritance. Okay, say for example, here we have some methods like get data. get info, anything. So if we want to inherit, means if we want to acquire this information to our child class, if it is an inheritance, then we can get this get data and get info implementation here also. So no need to implement the same thing, just we can call by using calling approach, we can get the definition of get data and get info. And if we want to extend our own implementation in child class, we will provide our own implementation. Okay, this is nothing but a single inheritance, single parent and single child class. Okay, let us see
Okay.
how we will work with the single inheritance. So just I will take a class name as a SI. So just I would like to declare a few properties here. Public string EMP ID, EMP name, department. Get EMP details. Okay. So EMP ID, EMP name, department, I'm reading this information. Okay. So just I want to inherit the same class to some other class. Yes, double I am using here SI. Okay. So here I would like to just use one more method, display EMP details. So like you know I'm using like print EMP details. So now I have my data. EMP ID is plus base dot EMP ID. Base is a keyword which is used to represent or which is used to access base class members. This is our base class, this is our child class, right? We can call this as a parent class, this as a child class, or else this as a base class or this as a derived class. Any word we can use. Okay, we can access those members here itself. Being an inherited member, so and as well as we should ensure that the production level also supports to our requirement. Suppose this is an protected or this is a private access member, we can't access. Okay, even though you are using inheritance approach, your members are either in private or protected, we can't access here itself. Okay, that
Okay.
we can understand. EMP name and as well as here department, EMP department is DEPT. See from, so now I want to create an object. So in order to create an object, you have to create an object for this or this.
For the base class.
Means this is your base class, right?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, see, you have to create an object for base class and child class also. But the thing is,
Okay.
effective approach is no need to create a multiple number of objects. If you are creating an object means nothing but you are allocating some amount of memory in a memory pool, right? So
Right.
always better to create an object for your child class in an inheritance concept. Why means your all base class members are inherited to your child class. Okay. By using your child class object, we can access the members of your base class also if it is
Right.
an
Okay.
inherited. Okay. So that
Yeah.
in inheritance we can remember that always create an object to your derived class, that is your child
Okay.
class. Okay.
Okay.
So just I'm trying to create an object for SII obj equal to new SII obj dot. So I'm trying to call that method get emp details, and as well as I'm trying to call print emp details method. So all methods are available here, right? So
Right.
because it is an inheritance, console dot read line. So just single inheritance. So enter emp ID, say for example, ROSOS 105. So next is emp name, say for example Virendra, and department, say for example technical. So now all my details SOS 105 emp name and department is technical. Like that I display the data. So what we observed from this program is, so generally, if we want to read this information, actually in outside of the class, again we have to get the data from the user, and after getting of data, again we have to use a print statement, right? So console statement. But here, getting of data is done in one class and displaying of data is done in another class. We are not at all getting the data again because already data bean is there associated in my parent class. So being an inheritance approach, so I'm just calling that my data from my parent class itself. Okay, so here I avoid this implementation in this child class. If it is a normal class, I just use this implementation here also, but because of this inheritance concept, I just avoid the same calling approach in my child class. You got my
Okay.
point?
Yeah.
This is called single inheritance. Okay.
Okay.
Next is multi-level inheritance. Acquiring the properties or implementation from a multiple base classes to a single child class is called multi-level inheritance. Okay. See here only single class and single child class, right? But whereas in the scenario of multi inheritance, this is one class, likewise this is another class, this is another class, this is another class. Okay. In between, this is consider this is our child class, and consider that is your parent class. In between your parent and child, In between multiple number of parent class comes to the picture. Okay, that means that your class members are acquiring here, your class members are acquiring here, and then it is acquiring here. So in between this
Okay.
and this, you can use number of classes here itself. It depends upon your requirement. Okay,
Okay.
this also act as a parent class for this class. This also act as a parent class for this class. Okay, totally base parent classes. This is our base parent class. Means in multi-level we have a number of levels in order to access our data from parent to child. That is called multi-level inheritance. I'll show you an example how to work out with multi-level. Just I'm taking a class A, and I'm taking another class, that is class B. I'm taking another class, class C. Okay. See, first in class A, I want to declare a members. So just I read PQ values here. I'm inheriting my class A to class B. Okay. So I want to
Okay.
perform some operations on this. So for example, I want to perform addition. Okay. Console dot write line addition of one is, so here I would like to take base dot p, right, comma base dot q, comma base dot p into base dot q. Under this subtraction, sorry, into y plus, no, so subtraction minus. Similar way, I'm trying to inherit my class B2 here. Okay, here I just want to implement multiplication, console dot write line, this is subtract, subtraction, multiplication, public void division, division of 1 and 2 is, so likewise we can create. So now class A is inherited B, B is inherited C. So here values we are reading. So we are applying two arithmetic operations here, and we are applying one more two arithmetic operations here. So now I want to call all these arithmetic operations in my parent class. So now instead of creating an object for individual, here we have to create an object for C. If you are creating an object for C, that's enough. So that by using that we can access all the members, means from all our parent classes itself. Obj dot. So we can call. What was the first method that we have to call? So first we have to fill the data, right? So that I'm using obj dot get data, and then obj dot we have add method, and obj dot sub method, obj dot multiplication method, obj dot do method, and then we can use console dot read line. Multi-level inheritance, right? So just I'm using 25 and 8. So addition of 25 and 8, 33, subtraction is 17, and multiplication is 200, division of 25 and 8 is 3. Okay. In this way, we used multi-level inheritance in this example. Okay. A is inherited to B, B is inherited to C. Finally, we call this C. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Next is multiple inheritance.
Okay.
See, in order, multiple is nothing but multiple number of parent class directly related to a single child class. Okay. In order to implement multiple inheritance in C#.NET doesn't support multiple inheritance. In order to implement this multiple inheritance, it takes the help of one entity, that is nothing but interface. By using interface only we can achieve multiple inheritance. Okay, let us see how multiple inheritance gonna work, and what was the features of this. Acquiring the properties from multiple parent classes to a single child class is called an multiple inheritance. So on. Okay, so these all are parent classes. Consider parent class A, B, C, D, and so on. This is a child class. Okay. See, consider these are the classes. Why we are unable to achieve multiple inheritance directly with the classes? Okay, that we will discuss now itself. Okay, why means, so for example, there is a no relation between class A, class B, class C, class D. All are so all are nothing but independent classes. We don't know what are the members in class A, we don't know what are the members in class B, we don't know what are the members in class D and class C also. Okay, so for example, if you take A as a method here, okay, if you, sorry, not A, P as a method here, if you take a Q as a method here, Q as a method here, if you take R as a method here, S as a method here, T as a method here, U as a method here, W as a method here, means there is no problem for us. Means in child class P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, all methods are accessible here and will do whatever the things that we want, right? So if this is a scenario, there is no problem. Suppose by mistakenly, suppose if parent class B also contains P, Q as a methods, P, Q as a methods. Similarly, parent class C also contains RS as the methods. Then problem comes here. Compiler don't know which methods we are going to access. The name of the methods are same, but the definition of this P and this P may different. Definition of this Q and this Q may different. Even though your definitions are different, but your name of methods is same. At this point of time, ambiguity comes to the picture and compiler don't know which method is going to accessible in the child class. So
Right.
that, so that conflicts came and our execution flow will disturbs. So in order to avoid these kind of scenarios, so we will consider single class and multiple interfaces. Okay, single class, multiple interfaces. What if interface is also contains the same P, same Q? Okay, the basic implementation of interface is different. Interfaces are nothing but, so which is as similar to a class, but it doesn't provide a definition inside the members, sorry, inside the class or inside the interfaces. Suppose I have a P here in interface also, so the definition is I provided in the child class, not in the interface level. Okay, just they declare only the members, and the members declaration and members definition is provided in the derived class or child class itself. So that if P is already have some other definition and the another definition is provided in the child class, means only the override, means latest definition is considered at the time of execution instead of getting a conflict. Got my point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the purpose. Here we avoid this class implementation. Just instead of that class implementation, we make to use this as a interfaces. So single class and multiple interfaces. By using this only, we can achieve multiple inheritance.
Inheritance. Okay.
This is inheritance B, inherited class B. So likewise inherited class C and inherited class D. Okay, this is the reason behind why multiple inheritance is not supported directly with C#.NET.
Okay.
Now let us see what is an inheritance. Sorry, what is an interface? Okay, interface is a member of a class. Okay, this is one of the class member, which is similar to a class, but it possesses a different behavior. It possesses a different behavior. Okay, interface just provides a declaration of members. Definition is provided in an derived class. Okay, suppose I have one. So generally, if we have interface, you can't you can't access interface in your parent class. Okay, you can inherit that interface to some other class. So by using the class only, we can access in our main class itself. Okay, we can't create an object for an interface. For an interface, rather than we inherited this interface to a derived class, and then we will provide a object creation for a derived class, and then access the members of a interface also. Members of a interface. Okay, by default interface members are public. No need to declare the access modifier for interface members. If you declare, it is an error. Initialization of interface members does not allows. Rather, it can be done in derived class. Okay, it can be done in derived class. So now what I have to do is, we'll see this is about interface. Interface is one of the member of a class which is as similar to a class, but it is not at all a class. Whenever we are declaring a members inside an interface, we just only declare. We no need to provide the definition. We no need to provide the initialization process. If we are doing something like that, it provides an error to us. So their definition is there. Declaration and initialization should be done in our derived class. We can't create direct object to the interface. So by using your derived class, we can access the members of interface. Okay, so in our multiple inheritance, we will deal with a single class and multiple number of interfaces. There is no limit to to inherit the number of interfaces into your program implementation. You can go with n number of interfaces. Let us see how we will work with this interface concept. First we will see how we will work with interface, then we will go with multiple inheritance. So syntax is just interface keyword space name, and just as a class, like we will declare whatever we want. So just I want to declare interface, just we have a shortcut key, just you can type interface like this and double click on tab, automatically you'll get one of the best coding standard is interface. You can start with like name of the interface with I, so that we can indicate that it is an interface. I'll declare my interface. Just here I'm going to declare a comma b. Okay, so just I'm going to declare a comma b, and I want to perform two operations here: public int add. Okay, similarly public int sub. Okay, so this is nothing but a declaration. Okay, suppose if you are trying to provide a definition here, let us check how it will looks like. Suppose this is multiplication, so for example return a b. I'm trying to execute this. Interfaces cannot contain fields. Okay, and public is a not valid. Public is a not valid for this, not valid for this item, which means that I already told you, no, by default members are public, no need to declare the access modifier, right? So here I am declaring access modifier. That's the reason here we are getting an error. By default all these members are public only. Okay, interfaces cannot contain fields, so just here I used int a comma b. So just no need to use any members inside the properties inside the interface itself. Why? Because if you create an properties, so generally it requires some constructor kind of thing. So when constructor will invoke after the creation of an object of a class, but there is no concept of object creation for interface. That's the reason it cannot allows us to pass some data. Okay, so generally I can declare like this. Now just I'm trying to run this. Interface cannot contain a definition. See, just here I provided a definition. This is called definition. So here interface restricted to provide a definition inside the interface creation only. So that is the reason it is providing an error. Okay, so just you can declare whatever you want, and you can place whatever the data types that you want here, and this implementation will be provided in our child class. So now I would like to take a class. Okay, so my class I would like to name it as res, and I would like to interface my interface here. So now public int add just I use return p plus q. Here I want to provide some definition for in this class for multiplication. So just I make use of this. Now I'm trying to create an object for my res class. Obj equal to new res. Okay, now obj dot add of So two values is required, 23 and 3. So another is sub and other is multiplication. And console dot readline. What is that interface explain? Okay, so just we want to display an output, right? So console dot write line addition is multiplication. Now you can check output. So addition 26, multiplication subtraction 20, multiplication 69. Like this, in interface we just declare the method, simple methods, and then we will provide the definition in our derived class. In this way we will work out with our interface. Is it okay? Hello? Hello?